Last time I talked about the three wrestlers that I feel like would instantly come and save the WWE. And those wrestlers were no other than Swerve Strickland, JON MOXLEY, and MJF. So these are just a few things that I would do differently. And then I've already explained the three wrestlers that I would bring back. These are different matches that I would like to see. So these are not only just matches, but these are matches that I feel like could get wrestlers the momentum that they need to be the stars they deserve to be. So the first person that come to mind when I think of that type of scenario is LA Knight. Now, granted, I haven't really been watching SmackDown that much, so I really don't know if LA Knight really has the same momentum that he had a few years ago. LA Knight had a feud with Bray Wyatt, and that feud really elevated LA Knight to a whole different degree. And the fans were really going crazy for LA Knight. The tricky thing about that is it's hard to keep that same momentum moving forward, because once the company starts to give you the wins and give you the championships, then sometimes things just change and it's hard to keep that same momentum. I feel like that's what's going on with LA Knight right now. I'm not saying that it's getting stale, because LA Knight is pretty good, but I feel like I don't know if enough is being done to keep his momentum as fresh as it could be. So automatically, just the three guys that I named, he could have a feud with Swerve Strickland, MJF, or JON MOXLEY. The matches that I want to see should make history. Even if it's just matches on Raw and SmackDown, it shouldn't matter. Each match should be important to its highest degree. LA Knight, to me, he just doesn't have those matches that stand out. And he's trying very hard. So shout out to LA Knight. Like he's putting in the work. But again, the booking is everything. MJF and LA Knight would just have a classic, in my opinion. They really would, because LA Knight desperately needs somebody like MJF on that roster, because it's hard for us to get the full version of LA Knight when you don't have a compelling opponent the way that MJF would be for LA Knight. So that would just be money. I don't feel like I have to say too much about that. Even if we just go to LA Knight and Swerve, we saw the type of feud that Swerve had with Hangman Adam Page. That's the feud that, in my opinion, got Swerve Strickland to superstar status. I could see a similar type of feud with Swerve and LA Knight. See, LA Knight is great on the mic, and we all know that. And that's part of my problem. It's not about just in the ring. I don't feel like the characters are compelling enough to match LA Knight on the mic. And I think that's why his character is in jeopardy of being stagnant, because you have to have characters that match each other. Swerve Strickland has shown us all of the qualities that I would have loved to see in WWE previously, but it's no time like the present. Not only has he shown how good he is in the ring, but his character work has grown leaps and bounds. And Swerve Strickland is so strong on the mic. Like, he's so strong on the mic now that I feel like AEW doesn't have the people they need to keep up with him on the microphone. So this is why I wanted him to be back in the WWE, and LA Knight is an example why. Because LA Knight could give Swerve Strickland that type of dynamic that Swerve had with Hangman Adam Page. It would be another classic, and then more importantly, it would be on WWE TV, because again, WWE is at the top of the mountain when it comes to professional wrestling. They are the king of professional wrestling, and to see that type of feud on WWE TV, it not only it'll be money, but it'll be magic, because it'll be cool to see Swerve Strickland continue to get these high-profile matches. And then honestly, I feel like Swerve could bring the best out of LA Knight inside of the ring as well. Not only does the WWE lack people to match LA Knight on the mic, but it's just a weird roster where they don't have a lot of people that could give LA Knight the type of match that fits his style, if that makes any sense. Like, again, styles matter, and a lot of wrestlers just don't fit the type of style that LA Knight has. Like, LA Knight has more of an old school type of style, in my opinion, like guys from the 90s. People already compare LA Knight's character to wrestlers from the 90s, but his in-ring work is a lot like wrestlers from the 90s. Things have changed so much, obviously, within wrestling, that I feel like a lot of times we don't get the full potential from LA Knight on the mic or in the ring. And Swerve Strickland is that type of wrestler that could get the most out of LA Knight. So I would love to see that feud for all reasons. Last but not least, I would love to see LA Knight have a match with JON MOXLEY. Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose, as everybody knows at this point, Dean Ambrose, that's my guy. And again, I would love to see him back in WWE because I think he'll hit a home run with every wrestler, quite frankly, storyline-wise and in the ring. I think Jon Moxley would have perfect chemistry with LA Knight. It's something about the two characters and the two styles that I feel like just mix perfectly. I feel like it's something about the two styles that are the perfect contrast to each other. I saw that Jon Moxley and LA Knight actually were roommates once upon a time, or something to that effect. They actually have a personal relationship with each other. They're actually somebody that started in the business together. The personal chemistry is already there. And then even character-wise, the chemistry is there. I'll go one further. They could actually even be a good team. Now, I'm not advocating for that. I'm just only simply mentioning that just to say how much of a chemistry I feel like that those two guys have together. I would like to see them be rivals, personally. Again, this is an opponent that LA Knight needs for the world to see him as a true superstar inside of the ring, because we know the superstar that he is on a microphone. But again, we have to complete the package, and we have to make sure that the in-ring work is just as effective as the promos. And I feel like Jon Moxley will have the perfect match with LA Knight, because again, then we can start getting into a little bit more violence. We can start getting into a little bit more ring IQ and in-ring psychology. I feel like Jon Moxley is a calculated type of wrestler. If portrayed right, if booked right, Jon Moxley is a cold and calculated wrestler. And I feel like he could bring the best out of everybody with that mentality. One of the things that made me a fan of Jon Moxley, aka Dean Ambrose, was when I used to watch some of his matches in FCW and in some of the other companies that he was with prior. And one thing that struck me about Dean Ambrose was the way that he would utilize the ring to hurt an opponent. It's just little nuances like that. Like, you know, he just had a certain sophistication to violence, if that makes sense to anybody. With violence these days is either too much or not enough. And I felt like Dean Ambrose, aka Jon Moxley, had a unique way of just giving you the perfect blend of IQ and violence. It's like an intelligent hitman. It's like an intelligent assassin. That's how I looked at Dean Ambrose before WWE wasted his potential. And now in AEW, I'm starting to see traces of that again. So for LA Knight, that's the perfect type of opponent, because like I just alluded to, LA Knight strikes me as more of like a 90s style wrestler inside of the ring. So he needs an opponent like that where it's more storytelling. It's more storytelling versus he has to be, you know, on AJ Styles level, or he, you know what I mean? Or he has to compete like a Seth Rollins. Like, again, every wrestler is not going to be on the same level when it comes to in-ring work. And sometimes that could hinder feuds, that could hinder opponents. So LA Knight needs an opponent like a Jon Moxley, like a Dean Ambrose, because it's more about storytelling. Same thing with Swerve, same thing with MJF. These guys are good at telling stories in the ring to match the in-ring work. And those are the type of opponents that LA Knight needs to be in the ring with.